I'm Grandmaster Jose Torres, publisher of Action, and you're watching the Piff Connection.
As Brother UMOJA, we're here still in Brooklyn at Martial Arts USA. We have another Grandmaster. I said today is the day of the Grandmasters. We have Grandmaster Curry here with us, who's based in Staten Island, right? Still in Staten Island. And we're going to talk to him about what made him start the martial arts. You know, what has him? Why is he still doing it? Because we said before, Grandmasters in the community help mentally, physically, and spiritually get the community together. So he's out in Staten Island doing his thing. So Grandmaster Curry, tell us about when did you start the martial arts and why did you start?
I started in 1971. Why I started studying is I remember as a child looking at the Green Hornet and watching Bruce Lee and Kato ripping that sidekick and I was just very intrigued. And then seeing Enter the Dragon, my father took my brother and I to see Enter the Dragon, and I was just so mesmerized. We had a local guy in 71, Sensei Archie Campbell, who taught jiu-jitsu and he taught judo. And my father enrolled me, and it was just water to a thirsty person, and it was so magical to me to be there, the smell of the uniform, the smell of the mats, the heat of the room, the workout, the trials and tribulations, not being able to do things, learning how to do things, competing and not winning, competing and winning, going home with choke marks on my neck and complaining to my mother, you know, that they were choking me, and she's like, "Well, learn how not to get choked." You know, she was from the other side. She's from Red Hook, so that's what drew me in. And you know, it's been a long time I'm in it, but it seems like yesterday I started. And there's not a day that goes by that I truly don't love what I do and love the benefits of it.
I'm listening to you, and I guess a lot of us who train the martial arts know about the chokehold and other stuff. I remember when I got choked out by a judo instructor in college. That was it. So now I'm listening to what you're saying, sir, and we are looking at a community right now. Our community is in danger. Is bleeding out. Because a lot of young people don't have direction, and and for me, I think we have a lot of grandmasters and people in the martial arts who have a lot to offer. As a grandmaster, and you're based in Staten Island, I know you go around doing a lot of things. What can you say? What do you feel needs to be done to help bring the community together? Because we're hurting right now. A lot of young people shouldn't be out there doing what they're doing, but they have no direction. So, as a grandmaster who works with a lot of young people, what do you think is some of the steps we need to take a serious look at to make our community better?
You know, we were talking about something similar on the way here, and it's martial arts is difficult for very young kids. You know, years ago, you were a teenager when you started, or 7, 8, 9 years old. Now children are starting at the ages of 3, and they are literally coming to us just out of diapers, pieces of clay, and we're molding them in the martial way, honor, dignity, and respect, replicating what's going on in the home, but reinforcing the fact that it's going to take a unified front to raise children properly, to keep them protected from the wrong type of peer pressure, making the wrong decisions, to give them inner strength and the discipline to do the right thing when people aren't looking. It's a different type of education, but it reinforces the education system. You know, most of us are, like in my own school, we have programs for reading, and we encourage the children to read it, and then we reward them for segments for reading, and even to the fact that we'll give them medals if they do so much. You know, building strong character traits that take them into their past into their puberty and past their teens into young adulthood, and it stays with them. You know, it's not that mom and dad is watching me. It's just I'm watching myself. I'm going to make the right decisions, and I'm going to do the right thing, and I am going to take care of my brother and my sister and help guide them and pull them into the direction I'm going.
Interesting. As I listen to you say that, I just think about it. In the Christian Bible, there's a verse about, you know, teach the child the way they should go, so as they get older, they'll know what to do. And as I'm listening to you talking about this stuff, this comes down to a process, and in that process is responsibility. Not only for the parents, but for the whole community. Because just like what you're doing in your school, teaching them to read, doing the reading and stuff like that, that's an extension of the home. So from what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like you're talking about process, family, and this, the whole community building. It's community building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I approached a woman actually approached me, and she was having a problem with her child, and I grabbed her and I says, "There's an old African proverb, and it says it'll take every one of us in this village to raise this one child." Well, she took that to heart and put that into the Staten Island Advance. You could look that up. It's a very nice article. But it's a bit of a tearjerker. All I do is I get behind the parents and I'm going over what they're doing, but I'm giving it to them in a way, a different angle, from a warrior's perspective. You know, warrior teaching a child or a young adult or an adult to fight, you could do that quickly, but teaching that martial spirit that governs the person, that makes him, drives that person and makes him make the right decisions, that takes time.
I was telling Grandmaster Anthony, I think when I started training, my teacher said to me, he said, "Herman, you like to fight?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Come, I'll teach you how to heal." And my whole thing to him was, can I still fight? You know, but I learned that, you know, the important things about the martial arts about how to heal. How it's not only physical, but mentally and spiritual. It gives you that balance, and you know when not to fight, when not to send that punch, when to walk away and still keep your sanity about yourself. So, you know, as a grandmaster, I know you see this all the time because you teach the kids in the school. You have the hotheads who come in, they want to fight, and you have to process them to show them what the truly thing's about. So what do you see as your biggest challenge right now, in not just in martial, but just in the community, because you are an extension of your community. So what do you see as your biggest challenge right now?
Excuse me. The biggest challenge I see in the city, and probably nationwide, but I could just speak, let me speak for Staten Island, is the drugs. The biggest challenge is the epidemic that we're fighting, and the many different causes of that. If the children were drawn to martial arts, they know they can't be doing that. They know they can't come into the dojo smelling like alcohol or smelling, and as they get older, smelling like cigarettes or another kind of smoke. They know that's not okay. That's the biggest problem. Drawing those same adults or the young adults or even the older people in and to re-educate them is a process. I think if we could fix that one little problem, it'll get us along the way. But there's so many different things to improve in our community. You know, it's a family structure. Sometimes a family structure is broken, right? Sometimes a lot of us, including myself, come from a broken family structure where the martial arts just took over and said, okay, you're not the norm, but here's a new family for you to go along with the family that you have. And someone you could rely on, someone you could trust, someone you could talk to if you need to, someone who's going to make you strong and not going to laugh at you when you fall down, going to pick you up and make sure that you don't fall as much. You know, martial arts does all of that, but to take the adults in, it's more difficult, but it works for them too. You know, once they learn to trust you, that your motivation is to make them better.
No, thank you, Professor and Grandmaster. Last question I'd like to ask you. Today we have about 20 Grandmasters out there. What would you like to see? Because I go to a lot of these seminars and it's really cool, but then what's the next step? I'm always looking 2 years down the road. That's my whole thing, my business. I'm always looking 2 years ahead. What would you like to see and you think should be the next step when we leave here today? Because when we leave here, you're going to go back to Staten Island. I'm in Philadelphia. I'm going to go back to Philadelphia. We're all going to go our separate places. But what do we need to do next? Because the problem's going to be there if we don't do nothing. It's just going to get progressively worse. So as a Grandmaster here with these other Grandmasters, what would you like to see the next step is after today? What do we do next? What would you like to see?
You know, the police have a saying, if you see something, say something. That's a good message to the community. For us, we know our methods work. You know, we know that with the proper guidance, what we can take that piece of clay, that young child, and what we can develop out of them. To bring more people into the martial arts is going to take more people off the street. It's going to give more people discipline. It's going to replace that family structure that people may run to gangs to. You know, they'll run to gang because it's a family environment. Well, this gang here is a healthy one. This gang here is gonna teach you to be productive. It's gonna teach you to be strong. Teach you to say no when you have to say no, and to feel good about yourself. So, if we leave here today, I hope that somebody says something to somebody to bring them into the martial arts. And the more people we have, the better everybody's gonna be.
I like that. You know, I'm talking to all you Grandmasters, and like, I'm like, wow, we have the prescription to heal the community. I think now we just need to apply it. That's what my personal thing is. You know, I see it in Philadelphia. When I live in Philadelphia, I come up here, I see what's going on. This is an application I think we need to do. So I thank you for saying that. If you have anything, if you have anything in closing to say, because this is going to go out globally, what would you like to say in closing, maybe to the parents of children? Just say this. What would you like to say to the parents or children who have a challenge right now?
Challenge children. That's funny. You should say something like that, because years ago there wasn't so many titles for children, right? And I guess it's good with psychology. And that said, every child benefits from martial arts. Every child learns. We all learn it at a different level. You know, I may not be able to hold eye contact, or I may tap my toe or look up at the ceiling or move my fingers, but it doesn't mean I can't learn. Every person could learn. We just have to reach into that person and bring the best out of them. A martial artist, when someone fails one of our tests, it's not that the child failed, it's we fail to reach out to them. You know, if we could reach out to more kids and more adults and affect them in the ways and the benefits that the martial arts gives, and the benefits are endless, we can globally improve society.
Sir, I'd like to thank you for your time. I know you had to get back on the mat, so thank you so much, Grandmaster Korea. Thank you.